up.
Wait a minute.
Well, or you could just do some jumping jacks, you know, like kind of
That's not the same.
get the energy burned off.
I want to come to your party. You've got a weird one.
Yeah,
Kind of obscene.
you never know.
He's all, let's loosen up. 6 o'clock.
Ready? Okay. Start a minute
Oh,
early.
here we go.
We're gonna, pardon me? Well, somebody's clock says 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock somewhere. Somebody's clock says 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It's midnight. Fine.
Shoot, we're late.
All right, I think the
He's
way I'm
practicing.
reading it,
He's practicing his
bring
gavel.
this, meeting
Whack, whack,
to
whack.
order.
Sorry.
Want to keep it under
Nope.
control on my left?
Nope.
That's why I have my body camera today to keep an eye on everybody.
He's got the gavel in his hand, so.
Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Councilmember Purdock.
Here.
Councilmember Overton. Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Vice Mayor Slutin.
Here.
Mayor Kramer.
Here. Stand for the pledge. Vice Mayor Slotin, would you lead us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Would you lead us in the invocation? And please, while you're doing the prayer, would you remember Lori Heron, who is known to pretty much all of us. If you don't know her, she is the wife of our former Public Works Director, and she has suffered a serious medical breakdown. She's had a stroke. So please remember her.
Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity and the privilege to remember such an one that means so much to us as the council, as the wife of one of our members that was here for a while. Lord, help her recover from the stroke. I know modern medicine has come a long ways in the research of strokes. And with your touch, your healing touch, we thank you, Lord. Lord, also bless this meeting as we come here for our decisions for this month and for months here to come. Lord, just thank you that you be with us and guide us through what needs to be said and what needs to be done. In Jesus Christ I pray, amen.
Amen. May be seated. Okay, as always, all items on the agenda will be open to public comment before final action is taken. All citizens wishing to introduce written material into the record at the public meeting on any item are requested to provide a copy of the written material to the city clerk prior to the meeting date so that the material may be distributed to city council prior to the meeting. I don't believe we have any tonight, so I won't finish that statement. Mr. Flora, do you have any changes to the agenda?
I'd like to withdraw item number 1, presentations by Clearlake Animal Control.
Okay. Will be not happening.
We just didn't have availability of anyone to come and present tonight.
Okay, well, we'll move on then, and this is the time for public comment. Any member of the public may address the city council on any matter not on the agenda at this time that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. Please complete a speaker information form card. I have 2 of those in front of me, and the Brown Act, with certain exceptions, does not allow council or staff to discuss issues brought forth under public comment. And council cannot take action on non-agenda items. Concerns may be referred to staff or placed on the next available agenda. Please note that comments from the public will also be taken on each agenda item. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person if our clock is working tonight. Okay. All right, well, the first speaker's request card that we have is from Judy Thane, our previous mayor, former mayor, and Kathy Quales, is it? Quales. So if you want to step up to the mic now, that would be great. I feel like I have to really do this well because I'm being judged out here.
Judy and I are here tonight, as you've heard. I'm Kathy Qualls, you know Judy. We're here tonight because we're here to represent the Lakeland subdivision. It's come to our attention that the property that Phase 2 was supposed to go into, or will be going into, is up for sale. And several years ago, the subdivision got together and they met with the city council, and there were regulations that were stipulated at that time as to size and no low income. And so that's one of the reasons that Judy and I are here tonight, is because we live in that subdivision. We went around, we talked to all the neighbors, and so we're here to represent them as well. They're all in agreement with this. We want to know if there's any way that the information that was established back then, somewhere along the way, somehow something happened. The map and that didn't get recorded. We also, we met with the city manager and talked to him about this before we came to you guys. And he said that even he thinks that probably the time frame has elapsed. So we're here because we want to ask you for your help in us being able to stop any low income from being built there. We're asking for basically kind of the same things that they asked for before. I recently just moved there since I lost my home in the sulfur fire. And the reason I chose to move there is obvious. People care about where they live. People take care of their yards. We have paved roads. We have sidewalks, underground utilities. And the people that I know around Clearlake, they all say, oh, that's the best neighborhood in Clearlake. So we want to keep it that way, and we want to make sure that whatever could possibly be brought in over there, we could go ahead and maybe reestablish this. I'm not a public speaker, so I'm sorry. I have to look at my notes. Let's see. I think I pretty much covered it, didn't I, Judy? Do you want something to say?
We just want to say thank you for helping us to preserve the vision of Lakeland subdivision, which is to enhance our community for all of us and make it a desirable place to live. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Cheryl Lawman. Cheryl?
Cheryl Lawman, 4649 West 40th Street in Clearlake. I'm here to thank all of you and those who you precede, who has helped me not only within the departments of the city and the city manager prior to you, Alan, but instrumental in helping me obtain a house that had been not paying taxes for more than 15 years because the person had died, and it had become a real blight in our community and caused many of us great distress. Nobody bid on the house. I did. I've claimed it for our community, and I'm inviting all of you to that open house, which is Thursday, the 29th from 8 to 4. If you have a chance, please stop by and recognize my appreciation for all of your help and all of your staff's help as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the council or audience requests otherwise, or if staff has requested a change under adoption of the agenda, in which case the item will be removed for separate consideration. Any item so removed will be taken up following the motion to approve the consent agenda. Are there any requests from the public? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Flora?
No changes from staff.
No change, okay.
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Vice Mayor Slotin and seconded by Councilwoman Overton, Member Overton. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, moving on to business. Consideration of the first reading of ordinance number 233-2019, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Clearlake amending Section 5-22, smoking prohibited in parks and certain public places of the Clearlake Municipal Code in its entirety and approving a related CEQA exemption for municipal code amendments. Are there any comments from the public? Pardon me?
Miss Swanson would like to present a staff report, if that's okay.
Okay, that's true.
Honorable Mayor and council members, at the July 25th council meeting, staff was directed to bring forward an ordinance for consideration which prohibits smoking within 25 feet of commercial building entrances and egresses and public areas such as bus stops and shelters. Clearlake Municipal Code Section 5-22 currently prohibits smoking in any city park. The proposed ordinance number 233-2019 amends that section in its entirety to add provisions to prohibit smoking, meaning inhaling or exhaling from any tobacco or cannabis product, including cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, and e-cigarettes, within 25 feet of any outdoor dining area, entrances and egresses to places of employment, areas such as bus stops and shelters, ATMs, and public places such as grocery stores or retail stores, bars, and restaurants. As it was the council's consensus at the July meeting, private single-family residences and multi-unit residential dwellings are exempted from this ordinance. The ordinance mandates the posting of no smoking signs in areas where prohibited. The ordinance also states the city may direct the posting of signage by written notice. Violations of the proposed ordinance are enforced under the administrative penalties section of the municipal code. Additionally, Mayor Kramer has met with staff and suggested a change to Section 5-22.2, Section P, which is the the fourth page of the ordinance. And it to read, smoke does not include the product of combustion of incense or similar products when used solely for olfactory purposes and does not contain tobacco, cannabis, or nicotine, adding cannabis to those three. Staff discussed it with the City Attorney Jones, and it is a reasonable addition for clarification. If it is the consensus of the council to add this provision, the motion would be made to hold the first reading of the ordinance as amended. And I can answer questions if you have them.
Where is this in the ordinance? P.
Under P.
P, I'm sorry, I heard E, sorry.
P is in Peter.
The last sentence in paragraph P.
So what we would change is to include smoke, as
Okay.
including
got it.
cannabis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, now, are there any questions of City Clerk Swanson? Now it's open to the public for comment, questions. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to hold first reading of the ordinance number 233-2019, read by title only, waive further reading, and set a second reading and adoption at the September 12th, 2019 regular meeting
As amended.
as amended.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Harris and a
Go, Mayor.
second by,
Read the title.
Yes, please.
Yeah. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Clearlake amending Section 5-22, smoking prohibited in parks and certain public spaces of the Clearlake Municipal Code in its entirety and approving a related CEQA exemption for the municipal code amendments.
Second.
there's a motion by Councilman Harris and a second by Councilman Purdock. Roll call or, okay?
Not necessary.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against, opposed? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Wow. Moving on to city manager and council member reports. Mr. Flora?
I'll make this really long to make up for it.
Good.
Thank you.
Get home in the sunshine.
No, so first I wanted to mention that, it was brought up earlier, Lori Heron is in the hospital, and so we did send flowers to the hospital today on behalf of the city. And it sounds like, she is improving. I'm sure some of you have had contact with Doug as well. Just keep her in your thoughts and prayers. The Meadowbrook construction project is ongoing. I think pretty much all the existing curb gutter and sidewalk have been removed. Things are going well out there. I asked for some updated grading stats. The crews haven't been doing much grading in the last week or two, as they've been down a couple of guys, and they've been focusing on crack sealing on Lake Shore. But they have completed just over 10 miles of grading so far this season, which is twice the amount that had been graded at this point last year. So they're still not covering quite as much area as I had hoped, but it is a significant improvement over where we're at last year, and there's still should be plenty of time to hit a lot of other areas. So Clearlake PD and a number of other agencies from the county performed an enforcement and outreach operation focused on illegal encampments in the city of Clearlake yesterday. And so officers from patrol, code enforcement, Lake County Child Welfare Services, adult services, social services, employment services, and mental health were all out. A total of 34 citations were issued for a number of violations, primarily being illegal camping. And as part of the operation, a dumped motorhome was removed from the area behind Tractor Supply in the Cache Creek Apartments. We also, there was an operation late morning, early this afternoon to remove a bear from behind Tequila's restaurant on Hill Avenue. I was coming home from another meeting at the college, and the chief saw me, and so I went over there for a while, and appreciate the professionalism of the various agencies that were involved in that. Fish and Game, USDA, Special District was there, of course, Lake County Fire Protection District, our Public Works crew, and several law enforcement representatives. And so I don't know all the details, but I believe the bear was removed and is in good condition. So Austin Park now has publicly available Wi-Fi. We're still working out some of the management of how that is going, but it's something that a lot of folks at a number of meetings that I'm involved in have been talking about. Lake County Broadband Solutions has provided public Wi-Fi in Library Park for the city of Lakeport and some areas of the downtown. It's something that the city has paid for the equipment and is paying for the service. The Kelseyville Business Association is in the process of implementing a similar system for downtown Kelseyville. Chief White, who, as you know, is also our lead infrastructure and IT officer around here, was able to purchase some equipment, which is actually very low cost, and we're able to use the fiber connection that we have here at City Hall to do that. So there's no real increase in monthly costs for us to do that. And so as time moves on, and we're able to sort of strengthen the infrastructure here, hopefully we can expand that to other areas of the city. But it's relatively easy to do it for Austin Park. So if you're out there, he put together a nice landing page and whatnot, and we're excited.
Is this
that
on
that's
our
put
website?
together. I don't know that there's a link on the website, but just if you're in the park and you go to Wi-Fi connections, it'll pop right up. So. Attended the Lake County Chamber of Commerce dinner last night at the Kearney's, and was the keynote speaker, and shared about some of the things that the city of Clearlake is doing. Focus of my speech was encouraging the community leaders to, I guess, not focus on a lot of the negativity that we hear about the city, and an attempt to change the perceptions that some folks have about our city with some updated information on all the progress that we have made. I feel like that was well received, and a lot of folks are interested in being part of the success we have here. And I've challenged the Lake County Chamber of Commerce to be more involved and actually hold some of their events here in the city of Clearlake instead of just in Lakeport. And they promised to do at least one of those in the next year. The Clearlake Chamber of Commerce has hired a new office manager. Most of you know that Patrick Prather resigned and is now working for Cobb Water District. So the board made a decision to hire Sheila Budwell, who is local around here, and we believe is going to be a great asset to the chamber. She attended our marketing meeting earlier this week, marketing committee meeting. So if you get the chance to stop in and say hello to her, that would be appreciated. City engineer and myself had a meeting with PG&E's representative that oversees the Rural 20A program, which is PG&E's utility undergrounding program. So that was pretty informative to get some information from them. Currently, we have availability of just over $3.6 million for undergrounding. And that will likely cover somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 miles of undergrounding, depending on the situation. So if you have ideas on where to focus some of those funds on a project, it's one of those things that we need to plan ahead. They said to expect at least a year, more likely 2 years of planning. So we need to make sure we have that worked into any projects that we want to do ahead of time. And we learned a lot about being able to swap certain credits. Apparently there's some communities that have very little interest in or don't have projects that they want to do, and so there's some ways that we can take advantage of the credits that they accumulate. And so that was a great meeting, and hopefully set us up for some of those projects in the future. Also, I was recently appointed to the board of the Workforce Alliance of the North Bay. That's the workforce sort of planning board that provides workforce training for our community. And this is an alliance that was initially Lake and Napa County formed this. Now Mendocino and Marin County are also part of the alliance. And so there's a overall executive board. Monica Rosenthal is the chair of that board, but then each county has its own local board. City Manager Folsom was on that board when he was here, but I went ahead and submitted an application. We had our first meeting today, and I'm excited about what's going on. I feel like those folks that are on the board and others in the community feel like Lake County hasn't really gotten the value that they needed that we need out of it. For example, people that got really in-depth workforce training in the last year, there were only 20 of them. And as you know, we have much greater need than that. So I think everyone around the table is pretty frustrated with that. We're having a strategic planning retreat in September to deal with that and work our way forward. So I think there's some good momentum going there. We've started some internal discussions and planning, and we would like to schedule State of the City for October 2nd. And so I'm hoping that all of you can double check your calendars. That's a Wednesday, and see if that works for you. We are planning to do it a little bit differently this year. We'd like to incorporate what we anticipate being a impending project at Austin Park, and do actually State of the City at Austin Park rather than the community center, incorporate a groundbreaking and some other maybe interactive activities that the police department will do, as well as Public Works. So hopefully you think that's a good idea, and your calendars are clear on October 2nd. So if we get your approval, we'd like to move forward on save the dates and invitations and whatnot for that event. So please let me know if you have any conflicts.
You want that approval now?
Yes.
I think we,
Have any issues?
Nope.
Good to go?
everybody's good
All
with
right,
it.
wonderful.
It's on the
It's
calendar.
too far ahead, to be honest with you, but we're going to put it on the calendar now.
I think that's all I have. That's my report, unless you have any questions.
You were right, it was a while.
I did just find out, we talked a little bit, I've talked to a number of you individually about the water pump at Austin Park. So we finally did get a pump guy out yesterday or the day before. The report is that there's some type of leak in the suction pipe between the pump and both the shoreline up to the water line. I think that's the worst section, and then from there on out to the float valve. And so we're getting quotes on what it will take to address that problem.
Is that going to be sufficient for the new irrigation system?
The new irrigation system is being designed to connect to Golden State's water system, so we wouldn't have to rely on the pump. And Golden State has offered us an irrigation rate for the park. We need a more reliable water service to irrigate our new park. That's my report.
Yeah, I assume that they'll have some budget projection or some study of the difference in cost between Golden State and running the pumps.
I don't have that in front of me, but I'd be happy to share that with you, yes. It's taken a tremendous
Yeah, I don't
amount of
need it.
staff
I'm
time,
just
you know.
throwing it.
It's very expensive whenever there's a problem.
Understood. Okay. Councilman Purdock.
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing to report. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilman Harris.
I too have nothing of significance to contribute tonight.
Councilman Overton. I can always count on you.
I'm just going to say one thing. I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to say I have nothing to report, but I just wanted to say that I don't know if you guys have noticed that the building on Lakeshore Drive that belongs to the Highland Senior Center has been worked on, and hopefully we'll get it painted in the next month and it'll be finished. And I just wanted to thank Councilmember Harrison for kind of helping us out with some ground covering in the meantime too. Makes it look a little nicer while we're trying to work on it. So.
And to continue on that one, the mural will, after it's painted and straightened out, the mural will be painted on it.
Right. We just got that side done today, so.
I have a question for Councilmember Overton. Is there not a fundraiser coming up?
Yes, there is. Yes, so, well, September 14th is the annual fundraiser for the Highlands Senior Center, is where we hope to raise most of our money to keep our programs going. And we are down on our funding, so I'm really hoping that everybody will come and enjoy it. It's just to kind of come as you are, kick up your feet. Our supervisor, Sabatier, is going to be our MC for the night, and our council member, Mr. Harris here, is going to be our auctioneer for our desserts. So come and enjoy. They're lots of fun, and hopefully we can raise as much money as we did last year. So
It's the 15th
it's
and what?
the 14th,
Oh, the
September 14th, and it's $35 a person. We didn't raise our rates like everybody else did. So
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor Slotin, do you have anything more? Or?
Yeah, a couple of things. Besides the mural, the signs, directional signs for things in this city are being worked on. Hopefully, Mr. Randy Hare has time this time to finish those up. The other part of it is obviously the soapbox derby, and we have some. Our city manager is confident that he will cross the finish line first. But,
I'm surprised you didn't say anything.
Yeah, but, you know, I understand that there's some other well-designed soapbox boxes coming online, and they probably might give you some run for your money. The other part is the marketing committee met, and this is all part of that, is the Hispanic Business Association really wants to put on a Day of the Dead on November 2nd, I believe, Saturday. So I think that's a good way to engage our Hispanic community that to do some stuff here in the park. I think that's it for marketing. I just want to mention one thing. Both Councilman Purdock and I have been working on Hope Center, one of those things, and it's slowly moving ahead, but it is moving ahead. Not as fast as anybody wants, but if we keep pushing it, it will happen. So that's my report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I really don't have much either. I did want to, however, highlight that something that we've been trying to get done for quite some time has now been done. We have stoplights at Old Highway 53 and Lakeshore that are timed correctly, which, so whoever made that happen, would you please pass on my appreciation for that? That's pretty much what I wanted to say. I know I also made Supervisor Sabatier feels good about that as well. So I would say if there's nothing more from anyone else, we will adjourn at 6.
We're going into closed session.
We're going to adjourn to closed session. If, you know,
Quickly. I had one, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
One future agenda item I just wanted to mention to the council. So I attended a pre-application meeting with the county with Supervisor Sabatier and county staff. So the county's cannabis cultivation ordinance established an exclusion zone for a number of areas, but including, I believe it's 1,000 feet around city boundaries. So for cannabis cultivation to happen within that zone, there has to be approval from the city. And so we don't have really a process in place for that, but we did get some information, shared some initial thoughts at the pre-application meeting with those applicants. And so I think the best way to move forward is to, have an agenda item, talk with the council a little bit about how you would like to handle that, if each one would come back to the council, or if within certain limitations, you would authorize me to, but we essentially need to send a letter to the county before they would approve any permit within that zone. And it looks like that there's a couple of applications at least that will be forthcoming. So I would like to add that to a future agenda.
Good night. ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
It wouldn't, so it's like a sphere of influence decision. In other words, would that go instead of to the city council to the planning commission first, or how does that work?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, I guess that's something that you could delegate to them. It's not clear in the county's ordinance, but there's just a number of situations where there's a boundary established. You know, this is the map, and the red is an exclusion zone. And so we need to figure out how you want to handle that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll talk about a couple in the upcoming weeks. So,
That's the only item, so we can go to, close.
Mr. Jones, I would really appreciate seeing you here tonight. We miss your presence, and although your colleagues do a wonderful job in your absence. So, we will now, if there's nothing else, at 6:34, adjourn to closed session.